You should also be aware, you should also be aware that in order to be granted such a variance, you require an affirmative vote of 5 members of the 7-member Board of Adjustment. Other variances require a majority of 4 votes to grant the variance. If you are an applicant for any variance and your variance is denied by this board, you have a right to appeal to the Superior Court of the State of New Jersey within 45 days of notice of the decision, and that court may overturn the decision of this board. If you're an objector to any type of variance and the variance is granted, you too may appeal to the Superior Court of the State of New Jersey within 45 days of the decision of this board. If you do file an appeal, I ask that in addition to complying with any court rule or statute, you provide a copy of your complaint with all supporting documentation to the zoning board secretary. Pursuant to the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting was provided by notifying the Star Ledger, the Jersey Journal, the Newark City Clerk, and posting a copy on the bulletin board in the basement of Newark City Hall. In addition to adequate notice under the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this remote public meeting was provided as permitted by statute, placed in on the City of Newark's website. Members of the public may notify the host that you would like to ask questions or make statements by using the raised hand feature at the bottom of your computer screen or mobile device. If you are calling on the telephone, we ask that you press *9 and that will alert us. I just remind you that the board is a quasi-judicial board, and if any appeals are taken, excuse me, we are required to provide a copy of the official transcript of proceedings to the Superior Court. The chat is not part of the official transcript, so I ask that you refrain from using the chat. We want to make sure that your questions, the answers to your questions, and your statements are part of the official transcript. So please use the raise hand feature. We'll call on you and make sure your questions and comments are part of the official transcript. Additionally, when you use the chat, it pops up on the screen. It's disruptive. It's like talking out loud out of turn if we were meeting in public. The meeting of the Board of Adjustment will now come to order. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Member Hall.
Present.
Member Hardesty.
Present.
Member Comesañas.
Present.
Member Rivero.
Present.
Member Cobian.
Present.
Member Torres.
Present.
Chair Afat.
Are there any requests for adjournments or postponements? Requests for adjournments or postponements? If so, please identify yourself by raising your hand. I see one raised hand. Screen name Zoom user. Can you turn on your camera and unmute yourself? Let the record reflect that Vice Chair Monfort is present. Took you a while to come into focus there.
I'm sorry, Chairman. I'll change my name as soon as I give my introduction. Elnardo Webster.
You're recognized, counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Elnardo Webster. I'm representing 4547 Beaumont Place at ZBA application 2454. I've had a couple of conversations.
Right before you do that, this is application ZBA-24 45-47 Beaumont Place. Are there any persons who have an interest in this application? If you have any interest in this application, please identify yourself by raising your hand. Wow, there are many raised hands. let's bring those folks in.
Everyone who accepted the invitation to be promoted to panelist has been.
Okay, now, and in an attempt to save some time, if you, I'd ask everybody to put their hands down at this point. I'm going to lower everyone's hand because I have another question to ask, hopefully to save us some time. So, if you, now that everyone that was brought in, I asked for everyone who had an interest to identify themselves. If you are an objector on this application, could you raise your hand, please? I want to get a count. If you're an objector, please raise your hand at this time. And of course, the raised hand feature is at the bottom of your computer screen or your mobile device. Okay, I have 15 raised hands. Okay, you can lower your hands. Counsel, your appearance for the record, please.
Good afternoon, evening, Mr. Chairman. Elnardo Webster from the law firm of Connell Foley.
Thank you. Counsel?
Mr. Chairman, I've had a number of conversations with your board attorneys, Ms. Allwaters and Mr. Plata. There's some jurisdictional questions that I've raised, albeit late. I think based on our conversations, I'm going to ask for an adjournment of this matter so that I can fully brief my position and the board's counsel can have an opportunity, an unrushed opportunity to review my jurisdictional position. So if the board would be so kind, I would ask for an adjournment to our next available meeting.
Okay, so I don't have a lot of information, but I did have a brief conversation with the board staff. And as counsel said, there is a question whether this matter is properly before the zoning board. And in order for us to answer that question, the zoning officer, council, and our planner have said they need more information facts and maybe some documentation from council, and council apparently has agreed to provide that. When that is submitted, board staff will make a determination, and we'll know whether the board has jurisdiction to hear this matter, or whether it is properly before another board. And I guess we can decide, or we can't determine jurisdiction, but we can assume which board it's properly before. We'll need time, our staff will need time to do that. What I do promise is that we will come back on the date. If the board agrees to adjourn this, we'll come back on the date given, and we'll air that matter out publicly. Council will state his position. Board staff will either agree or not agree. And no matter what board staff state, the board will act accordingly as it sees fit, but we'll do it transparently and as we're required in the public eye. And the documents, if any, that are provided will either be provided prior to the hearing or fully discussed at the hearing. Is that fair to say, Council Webster?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I think Council Allwaters has asked me to provide whatever position paper I'm going to make at least 1 month prior to the board's next hearing, the hearing that we're granted. So I'm hoping that that's enough time for staff and the public to consider my arguments.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that Council, you'll have enough time to present your position, that our council and our staff will have enough time to digest that, ask any further questions, and then we'll be back here to air those positions and any further questions the board may have. Does anyone from the public have any questions about this? Could you state your name, Mr. Mark Covey?
Mark Covey, I'd just like clarification on the decision that was made at the last meeting, that there would be no more adjournments of this case. And from my perspective, it feels like the applicant has waived his rights to delay this any further, regardless of the reason.
Understood, Mr. Covey. I think it's important for us to have a full hearing of any questions, and I agree with our staff that we need to look at every question raised by council regarding this. I assure you there's going to be no decisions made out of the public eye. Ms. Cohen.
Yes, good evening. Danielle Cohen from the firm of Tesser and Cohen. I represent two of the neighboring properties, Claire Jones and Kim Reed and Shay Douglas. And I did not attend the prior hearings. However, I have a question, as my understanding is there were two prior hearings beginning in December, and the jurisdictional issues, I have to assume, obviously people were aware of at the prior hearings, as all of the papers that were submitted remain the same. So I'm unclear as to why an adjournment is needed at this time, when this seems like this should have been an issue people were aware of and should have addressed earlier. And I also understand that at the last hearing, it was stated that there'd be no further adjournments of this matter.
Understood, counsel. And Ms. Allwaters, our counsel, could you get Counsel Cohen's contact information and share any submissions we get from Mr. Webster with counsel for the objectors? Counsel, I was not aware of And I'm still not fully aware of these jurisdictional issues that were raised. Nor I wasn't aware if I don't think they were previously raised. I think that fundamental fairness requires for all parties, requires that we hear these. Happy to, and I think you have to be in the loop, and if you're not in contact with Miss Allwaters, I want to make sure you are, so you get any submissions.
And-
You know,
Can
Yes.
Council Webster share what the jurisdictional questions are?
I think it's better at this point that I reduce it to writing. I've agreed with the board staff, and I'm going to avail myself of that opportunity.
I mean, it's just difficult sitting here, and as you can see, there's numerous individuals that have appeared and taken time out of their evening to now appear at a third hearing, and just to be told again that it's going to be adjourned for a new issue that can't even be discussed amongst any of the neighbors and needs to be reduced to writing at a later point in time. I mean, at some point, there needs to be a
Well,
hearing,
Ms. Cohen-
and I understand fairness and to everyone involved, but you also have, I don't even know how many people, over 20 people, looks like to me,
Ms.
that are
Cohen?
here for a third time. Yes.
I guess the question is,
Mhm.
I want to be fair not only to the applicant, but be fair to the objectors. The applicant should have to advise us all what his jurisdictional concerns are or objections are, and you should have time to review those and prepare a response. So I think it's fair to all parties that we air this out. I wouldn't want to put you in the unfair position of being hit with some new position today that goes before the board before you have an opportunity to fully research it and present your questions. And that's, I think, fair to all parties.
I think my concern is really that each time this comes up for hearing, there's some sort of issue, is my understanding, that requires it to be adjourned. So I can't imagine, again, I don't know what the jurisdictional issues are. They haven't been disclosed as of yet. It seems like, Council Webster has discussed them with somebody, one of the board attorneys. So it's obviously somebody has an idea what the issues are. And it just appears that each time there's going to be some sort of problem or subsequent issue that pops up. So at some point, this needs to come to some sort of conclusion. And while, yes, I would like the opportunity to review and understand whatever the jurisdictional questions are, it also has been adjourned now. This is the third hearing that's been scheduled. It's really not fair to the neighboring property owners and people that have taken the time out of their busy schedules to come here.
Yeah, I understand your concern. All I can say is I think it's fair to all parties to air this out after we've had an opportunity to see what it is. I think in the meantime, maintaining the status quo is in the best interest of all. Miss Reed. Thank you, Council. Miss Reed?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of bottom line in a lay vocabulary here for all of us who are the concerned neighbors. They're asking for zoning variances. This is a zoning board. What possible issues could there be that can't be decided today? Like what other like domain could this fall under?
Well, apparently there's a question of whether this board has the jurisdiction to decide the variance. But that is exactly what we are going to try and get to the bottom.
Who else decides zoning variances other than the zoning board?
In the city of Newark, only the zoning board decides zoning variances.
Then what are we talking about here?
Exactly.
Jurisdiction, whether the board has the power to hear. the matter.
So if the zoning board is the only board, there's the only entity that makes decisions about zoning variances, and this is in regard to zoning variances, it seems to me we got our answers here.
Mr. Jones. I'm sorry, Ms. Jones. I'm old and have bad eyes.
Gotcha, no problem. Given that this is supposed to be our last and final hearing, and we were given assurances that that was the truth, should we expect, since this is being delayed again, that it could be delayed indefinitely? Can this happen again? Can we get a second promise that this next hearing will be the last hearing?
Well, yeah. You know, I do understand the frustration of coming to meeting after meeting and having no decision. I do understand when the board marked this preempt that, and that it would go forward, to find out it is not. At the same time, I want to make sure that this board crosses all our T's and dots our I's and make sure that any decision we make is a final decision, which hears the concerns of all parties, applicant and objectors, and looks at all issues raised by both sides. I wish I can say that, you know, I'm happy to mark this again, preempt. Can I promise that nothing will change that? Well, as several of you have noted, we promised, and probably it was me that promised that the last time. This is something that came up today that I had not heard of before, that in a very brief conversation with staff, it was clear to me that we needed more time to review this. So I am happy to mark this no further adjournments again. I can't imagine what might come up, but these indeed are strange times we are living in. But I will do my best to make sure this goes forward. I'm glad there is a council involved here. And you know, I ask people not to use the chat. Thank you for abiding by that. I'm glad council is involved here. I'll make sure, I've asked to make sure that council gets notice and shares it with the objectors. And I do want to say that the board really feels it's important and urges community to come out. I'm glad that you've come out. I've asked you, I know it's frustrating to continue to come out. Your voices, your concerns are really important here. And
You froze, Chairman. You froze, Chairman.
am I back?
Now you are.
Okay. I expect the status quo to continue, that no further work is being done here, nor will it be done until this board makes a decision. So with that being said, Ms. Mejia, can I have a date?
June 26th.
So I'd ask for a motion, and the board will decide. I'd ask for a motion to adjourn this matter, marked no further adjournments once again for
What date?
June 26th. May I have a motion?
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion, Commissioner Hall, may I have a second?
Second, Comesañas.
Second, thank you. Call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphonse.
Yes, again, this will, council, I'd ask that, you would agree to place a sticker on the notice with the new date and send regular mail of the new date to the, folks within 200 feet. Is that something you'd be willing to do, council?
I think it's fair considering the circumstances. Yes.
My very much, council. Appreciate that.
And I will, per my conversation with Ms. Allwaters, I will provide a position paper, my position on or before the 26th of May.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, I urge the community to come back out so we can hear your concerns on the 26th.
Worthy Chairman,
And thank you for coming out tonight.
worthy Chairman Alphonse?
Mr. Cordero,
Yes, sir. Can I ask a question?
sure.
We've come here 3 times. We were promised the last time that this would be it, a decision would be made. We want to have the last swing because this is 7 properties that are being severely affected. 3 of them really badly. My garage, they've been digging under with a bucket, which makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. Our properties are historic in some cases here. And this is going on forever. We want to have the last swing. If this last date is unsatisfactory for us, we want to have a last swing where we can reschedule one time because it looks like we're offering these developers another shot again. This is unfair to our community. The young ladies that own the property adjacent to that home that's impacted, you can't even go back there. There's a crater in their property. It's collapsed in and not our actions. And these developers have said that we've contributed to this. We have not. We should really get the EPA in here to look at this because I have a landslide happening in my driveway going toward them. We're over 8 feet taller than they are, and this is unfair. It's absolutely unfair, ridiculous. Since Shaquille's cousin died in a fire that the building that was there originally, 24 years, it is nonsense. This is absolutely nonsense. And we all pay taxes. This gentleman is not paying taxes. He probably has deferments. This is absolutely ridiculous that we have to go through this situation. You can see how upset I am. This is ridiculous. We go in, they get the adjournment. We're trying to have a conversation with them. They say they're negotiating with somebody. Who are they negotiating with? They've never come to us. And I guarantee you they didn't go to Ms. Jones or any of the other people there. What they need to do is put a wall there, put a reinforced concrete wall on their side, restore our soil because my garage is splitting open and so is the other matching garage on the twin homes. You're welcome to come and call me one day. I'll walk you through and give you a tour. We can do that. We're asking for fairness here. We're historic. We pay taxes for 25 years, and then we're dealing with this nonsense. This is absolutely insulting to us. And we don't have any representative in our city that has the guts to come in and say, hey, remediate this situation and you build within your property. I'm not giving up 1 damn inch of my property, and no one else here is going to either. This is ridiculous. Thank you for your time. I apologize for the anger, but this is nonsense.
Understood. Commissioner Comesañas.
Chair, I know, I believe council said that he would have the information by the 26th, but if their date's on the 27th, shouldn't we receive it sooner? We don't end up in another situation like this?
No, Mr. Chairman, no, Commissioner. My understanding is that the date for the hearing is June 26th. I've agreed to have my letter in on May 26th.
Okay,
26th.
thank you. I misunderstood. I misheard. Thank you.
More than a month ahead of time.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Cohen, this is
I-
gonna be the last comment.
I have a procedural question
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
I understand that on June 26th, the board is going to hear Mr. Webster's, I guess,
We're gonna hear this
application for the jurisdictional issues. To the extent the board denies his request,
We're gonna hear
have
the
it moved,
application,
then you'll hear the applications?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
that was my question.
definitely.
Understood.
This matter will be resolved, barring any and I can't foresee anything new on that day. Ms. Reed, really, unless you have something that hasn't been said, we have other cases.
Uh, I thought our participation was important. Just another
Please.
quick procedural question, and that's we want to make sure that council gets a copy on May 26th as well. Please.
I think I've attended to that. Ms. Allwaters, you will take care of that. Is that correct?
I will. Ms. Cohen, can I have your phone number or put it on the chat?
Sure,
Your
of course.
Contact information.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Will we be invited to this May 26th meeting?
You are invited right now.
All right, so there's two meetings then, May 26th and June
No, no,
26th.
no. There is one meeting for this application. The meeting for this application is June 26th at 6 p.m.
Okay, and May 26th is when the gentleman is going to have his document issued to you, correct?
Yes, to council.
Okay, will we be able to see that beforehand?
Probably not on that day. I will not see it on that day either. That he will give it to council. Council will review it, and council will research and make their own responses. After that, both sides will present their positions to the board, and I'll hear them at that time as with the rest of the board, and so will you. That's how we usually proceed. Okay.
Okay, so Chairman Alfant, so he'll issue his document on the 26th. We won't see any information until June 26th, correct?
That's probably correct, yes.
All right.
If
Is council willing to share it with us?
If the matter is, if our secretary can, she'll put it online with the rest of the documents.
Okay, I think in all fairness, with the delays, that would be fairer to us than waiting for the 26th.
Thank you for your thoughts. Call the next case, please.
Thank you, Chairman.
The
Thank
time
you.
is
Have a good
now,
night.
the time is now 6:53 p.m. The next item on tonight's agenda is a res judicata consideration of ZBA 22-56 and ZBA 24-60, located at 828-832 Summer Avenue. Previously in the R3 zone, applicant Summer Avenue Apartments LLC was denied on April 13, 2023 for construction of a 5-story multifamily building with 31 residential units over
Yeah,
parking.
she was good.
The applicant is currently proposing construction of a 5-story multifamily dwelling with 36 residential units in the C1 zone.
I wonder if council for this case can raise their hand.
It's me again, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay. Is your team in, council?
I see my engineer,
I see Mr. McDonough's hand raised.
Mr. McDonough is on my team. My architect is Ephraim Gobriel, and Craig Paragoy is my traffic engineer. That's my team for this
And
application.
who is, you have a planner, John Takina?
No, my planner is John McDonough.
Okay. Mr. McDonough is a man of many screens there. Anyway, I ask that if there are any objectors, to please raise your hand so we can bring you in. The Board of Adjustment made the following findings of fact with respect to 828, 832 Summer Avenue. It's generally bounded by Summer Avenue between Coinan Street and Verona Avenue. The lot area is approximately 10,170 square feet. The surrounding land uses consist of detached 3-family dwellings, commercial properties, and mixed-use properties. Ms. Mejia, were there any objectors?
There's one raised hand.
I see 2 raised hands. There was a telephone. Screen name Carla. Can you turn your camera on and unmute yourself? Screen name Carla, can you unmute yourself? Screen name Zena's phone, iPhone. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes,
Are you an objector on this application?
yes,
Okay, thank you. We'll let you know when it's time to ask
sure.
questions. Screen name Carla, Karla. Can you unmute yourself? I lost you.
The other,
I lost screen name Carla. Can you unmute yourself? Screen name Carla? Okay, I don't know who screen name Carla is. Counsel, your appearance for the record, please.
good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Elnardo Webster. I'm a partner with the law firm of Connell Foley, located at 185 Raymond Boulevard, 19th floor of Newark. I represent Summer Avenue Apartments LLC, the applicant for this project to be located at 828, 832 Summer Avenue, designated as Block 815, Lot 12 of the official tax map of the city of Newark. Property is located in the C1 commercial neighborhood zone.
Counsel.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to deal with the res judicata issue first. It was brought up in your planner's report. The application was before this board on April 13th, 2023. The applicant sought to construct a 5-story multifamily dwelling with 31 residential units and 20 off-street parking spaces on the site, which was then located in R3 zone district. The proposed use was not permitted and the applicant sought D1 variance relief. The board denied the application. Doctrine of res judicata applies where an application that was previously acted upon by the board is brought back before the board requesting a variance for the same or similar relief by the same applicant. However, a substantial change in circumstances to the application is recognized an exception to res judicata in the land use matters in New Jersey. Here, the circumstances have changed materially. First, the applicant is not the same as the applicant in 2023. Summer Avenue Apartments LLC took ownership of this property after the original application in 2024. We are proposing a brand new building containing less units and more amenities, including a rooftop deck and green roof systems. Most significantly, since the original application was denied, the city zoning ordinance was amended. Under the new amendment, the property was rezoned from previous R3 zone to a C1 commercial zone. As a result of this zoning change, the proposed use and building type presented this evening is now permitted. In addition, under the amendment, a 5-story multifamily dwelling was reclassified from mid-rise multifamily dwelling to low-rise multifamily dwelling. For these reasons, we believe the new application is not barred by the previous decision.
Anything further, counsel?
That is my position with respect to the res judicata, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any questions from the board regarding res judicata? Any questions regarding res judicata? Seeing none, are there any?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Vice Chair Monford.
the previous application was for 31.
The previous application was for 31, yes.
And am I reading correct that the new application is going to be for 36?
No, the new application is for 29.
That's a typo. Okay.
Any further questions from the board? Are there any questions regarding the res judicata, excuse me, from members of the public? If so, please use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. If you're on the telephone, you can press *9 and that will alert us. I see no raised hands. Discussion from the board? We're now in discussion. I have discussion. Commissioner Comisarios.
I mean, it's, everything we listen to is gonna be unit count and size, right? Density, height. So for that reason, if they lowered it and change of ownership, you know, I'd be willing to hear it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments from the board? Other comments from the board? Seeing none, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to hear the case.
We have a motion that res judicata does not apply from Commissioner Comisanias. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Hall, call the roll, please.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Sorry, yes.
Vice Chair Munford,
Abstain?
Chair Afant.
Yes. Call the next case, please.
Mr. Chairman, I think we're gonna present our case. Is that what you meant?
Relax, council, relax. There's only 2 cases on the agenda. And yours is 3 of them. Call the next case, please.
The time is now 7:02 PM. The next item on tonight's agenda is ZBA 24-60, located at 828-832 Summer Avenue, Block 815, Lot 12 in the North Ward. The applicant is Summer Avenue Apartments LLC. In the C1 zone, the applicant proposes construction of a 5-story multifamily dwelling with 29 residential units. Applicant is seeking a D5 variance for insufficient lot area per dwelling and C variances for exceeding maximum front yard setback, insufficient side yard setback ×2, insufficient rear yard setback, exceeding maximum lot coverage by building, exceeding maximum impervious lot coverage, insufficient building facade transparency ×3, insufficient active ground floor requirement, insufficient shade tree, and insufficient off-street parking. Site plan approval is required.
No. Although I did it before, I'm going to read the findings of fact again. 828 to 832 Summer Avenue. The Board of Adjustment made the following findings of fact with respect to this property. It's currently bound by Summer Avenue between Corman Street and Verona Avenue. The lot area is approximately 10,170 square feet. The surrounding land uses consist of detached 3-family dwellings, commercial properties, and mixed-use properties. I note that there's one identified objector and screen name Kyla. Can you unmute yourself? Screen name Kayla. Can you unmute yourself? The record reflect there is one identified objector. Counsel, your appearance for the record.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Leonardo Webster for the applicant, Connell Foley.
Counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is here before you this evening seeking preliminary and final site plan approval to construct a new 5-story low-rise multifamily residential building consisting of 29 residential units, 10 amenity space, and ground floor parking containing 17 spaces. The applicant proposes to include 3 EV make-ready spaces for an overall parking count of 19 spaces. The building is highly amenitized, including ample bike storage for 32 spots, a gym, a large community room, a lounge, and a rooftop deck with a green roof system. The applicant has been actively collaborating with the city's planning and development professionals and has participated in a technical review meeting to ensure the proposed building aligns with community and regulatory expectations. Throughout this process, multiple iterations of the building design have been developed, including a reduction in overall unit count, and inclusion of right in, right out only, an entrance and exit, an effort to present the project that meets appropriate planning goals and is responsive to the city's feedback. Most recently, the building's facade has been thoughtfully modified to incorporate balconies, enhancing the architectural character and contributing to the more attractive and engaging streetscape. Our architect will present an exhibit for the facade update. Again, the proposed use of the property is a low-rise multifamily building is permitted in the zone. However, the project exceeds the maximum allowable density. The applicant requests a number of variances that were previously listed. The applicant also seeks waivers for a maximum 20-foot wide driveway aisle where 24 is proposed, access driveway within 25 feet from a non-signalized intersection where the applicant agrees to comply with the recommendations of the right-in, right-out only by the engineering department. Our engineer will address the driveway width and testify that we are complying with the 20-foot minimum from curb to curb to the garage entrance. I'm in receipt of a number of reports. I have a completeness review letter, Mr. Chairman, dated October 1st, 2024 by the board planner. I have a technical review meeting memorandum dated March 6, 2025. I have a traffic and parking assessment letter from the engineer dated April 9th, 2025. I have an engineering review report dated April 9th, 2025, and a planner's report dated April 14th, 2025. Our professionals will stipulate during testimony that the applicant will work to satisfy and address the conditions and revisions noted therein. An affidavit of proper notice was filed with the board secretary confirming publication of notice more than 10 days prior to the hearing in the local newspaper of record, the Star Ledger, provided all property owners within 200 feet of the property and provided the property by proper assigned notices as required by the Newark ordinance. Tonight, I have with me four experts, engineer, architect, traffic engineer, and planner. My first witness this afternoon or evening is Adam Candil from Daytel Engineering, if the board would be so inclined to hear from him.
Yeah, and where is your?
I see him on my screen. Adam, can you raise your hand and unmute yourself?
Okay, great.
All right, Adam Candil.
Ms. Candale, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name, give us your address, and your relationship to this application.
Yeah. My name is Adam Candil. My address is 35 Preston Road, Parsippany, New Jersey. And I work for Daytel Engineer. I am a director of engineering, and I have 19 years of experience in civil and land development, civil engineering and land development experience.
Have you ever appeared before this board, Mr. Candela?
I have not directly, no.
Well, welcome, counsel.
Mr. Kendall, would you please provide the board with the benefit of your education, your training, and describe what other boards you've appeared before, and also indicate whether your license is for New Jersey is in effect and in good standing?
Certainly, yeah. So a graduate of Rutgers School of Engineering. I've been in the field for the last 19 years. I'm licensed in New York, New Jersey, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, several other states. And my experience is in civil engineering, with a concentration in site engineering and land development. Again, I am a director at Daytel Engineering, and I've testified in front of various boards across the state, including Essex County as well, Jersey City, and various other similar cities.
And Ms. Candil, your engineering license in New Jersey is in full force and effect, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome to the Newark Zoning Board. Council, we'll accept Ms.
Thank
Candil as an expert in the field of engineering.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kendall, if you could share your screen and walk the board through the existing condition, and then I'm going to ask for you to describe the proposed condition.
Certainly. Let me know when you guys see the screen.
We can see it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So these are the plans that have been submitted. These are my site plan package, which is dated 8/14/24, last revised 3/17/25. I'm not sure if I should go through these as exhibits or just reference the sheet title and the drawing number. Is that sufficient, counsel?
That's sufficient because we've submitted them. The board has a copy of them.
Okay, so these are previously submitted, the cover sheet, drawing number C01. Just going through the project, this is a proposed preliminary and final site plan for a low-rise multi-family residential building located at 828-832 Summer Ave, lot 12, block 815. We are located entirely in the C1 zoning district. The property consists of 10,169 square feet. The lot is irregularly shaped, but for purpose of this testimony, it's 80-foot wide by 129-foot long, approximately, yielding the 10,169 square feet. Just going through some of the bulk requirements. Well, first, before I go there, we are entirely within the C1 zone, and the property is located to the west of Summer Ave. And is surrounding by other residential properties. Going through the zoning requirements, and for purpose of going ahead with it, I'm gonna focus on more or less the ones that we're looking for variances, but I will go in general of what the site has. So the required lot area is 5,000, and we have a site that's 10,169 square feet. The minimum lot required is 50, whereas 79.98 is provided. Going to the principal building bulk requirements, there's a minimum side yard of a minimum front yard of 0 based off the prevailing, and that's also in the planner's review letter. So just put a little note there. Then the planner's review letter as described, that because the prevailing front yard is 0, we're providing 6. So in theory, that actually is a variance that is denoted. The rear yard, 30 is required, where we're proposing 20. On the side yard, on both sides, we're proposing 0. As you'll note, when we get to the planner's review, 6 should be, a 5-foot should be provided on the southern property line. So that is also an existing variance, because the existing buildings also have 0 lot lines. And that's the same on the both side yards. The maximum percent for building coverage, 70 is required, where we're proposing 78.94. The maximum impervious coverage, 75 is required. We're proposing 94.57, which is actually a decrease of impervious coverage in reference to the lot as it currently exists. And with regards to the maximum building heights, we are looking at a 5-story building, as the architect will also get into, with a maximum height of 58 feet, which is it's in compliance with the zone. And the minimum parking is 1 space per dwelling. As council stated, we have 29 dwellings. That's why we need 29 parking. We're providing 17 surface parking, as you'll see on the site plan, and of course, additional when you look at it as per the credit. Some increase the proposed, or we could reduce the requirement, but this actually on our site plan is 17. And if we look at EV credits, would be an additional 2, hence the 19 that was previously stated. The ornamental trees, 1 tree for every 5 parking spot. We have 14 shrubs and trees that you'll see on our landscaping plan. And with regards to accessory structures, none are proposed. The residential units, again, 29 spaces. The minimum driveway spacing from a street intersection, signalized intersection, 25 is required. We are proposing 11, which I'll also get to when I go into the plan sheets. On the parking, which I'll also go into when we get into the plan sheets, we're providing a 24-foot aisle. 20 is the minimum, and I think also the maximum as well. So that's something that we will discuss when we get into the site plan. And here's our parking calculations: 29 units yielding 29 required. We're proposing 17. With regards to the landscape requirements, we are proposing one new shade tree, whereas we have one existing. And that will be something that we will also discuss. And the building height, you will see it from the architect's renderings, lighting requirements. The intent of the plan was to comply. There are some comments from engineering, which we'll also comply with, but that was the intent. And the site is located in a non-flood zone. As you'll see here on the flood, we're not within any flood zone. And I'm just gonna move on to sheet CO1, which is our existing conditions. Where you'll see there's an existing two-story residential building. And you can see there's 0 lot lines in the back here. And there's also a one-story masonry garage, which takes a good portion of the rear of the property. The remainder of the site has utilities and is essentially asphalt all throughout. There's an existing fence, which we are planning to remove. And there was also a question of that because a portion of the existing fence is outside of the right of way, and that fence will be removed. Other than that, just some saw cut and pavement restoration, which is a result of our utilities that we are proposing. And here is the closest intersection, which is Winthrop Street, which is the signalized intersection that was discussed. I'm going to continue on. We have all standard Newark notes for demolition, and I'm going to continue on to C03, which is our site plan. On the site plan, you can see that first off, we have the site triangle here, and we also have the milling and overlay. So repaving the entire frontage of the property up until the intersection, which is also a municipal requirement. With regards to the site circulation, we have a right in and a right out, which you'll note here by our right only sign that's located on the right of our exit from the garage, from the roll-up mesh grill at the garage entrance. And two-way circulation. We're providing 24-foot drive aisle. The requirement is 20, but from an engineering standpoint, something I prefer, and I did speak to engineering, so I've had various conversations with the engineering department above and beyond our March 5th technical review meeting. But I would prefer to maintain a 24-foot rather than the 20 that is suggested. I just feel like when you have columns and in an area like this, if you have the space, I would prefer it for circulation and for the ability for the vehicles to back out. We are complying with the ordinance with 8.5 by 18-foot standard stalls, and where there's a wall, we have a 9-foot width. So that is compliant with the standards. We're also complying with ADA requirements for the ADA parking spaces, as well as DCA for the EV spaces, which if the surface, as I suggested, if you look here, line spaces, you have 17 spaces, and these are entirely under the building, with the exception of the 3 in the back, which protrude outside of the overhang of the building. Additionally, and I'll go further into it on the landscape plan, there's some open space and landscaping to the rear of the building. And additionally, in the front, we're enjoying a 6-foot setback from the front, which is something that also, it's a variance, but something that will allow us to also put additional pockets of landscaping, which we will discuss with the landscaping and the arborist, the city's arborist. Aside from that, we have bicycle parking in the on the south end of the property. We have wheel stops here. Access to the building would be through right adjacent to the handicap aisle, where access will be granted here. And also the architect will go into this more detail, but for refuge, we are dealing with the trash through an interior trash room, which is located there. And there's a trash chute that comes to this area. So this is more or less with regards to the site plan. We're redoing the entire curb. We're redoing the sidewalk along the entire frontage of the property. This is the proposed tree that we're looking to install. And of course, that'll be subject to, and something that we'll discuss further, but subject to the ability to plant it based on the site triangle, which you see over here. The site triangle, which goes in both directions, mainly to the left because they're right out. And the existing tree that remains is also subject, and that's discussion. So we would, I'll defer to council, but we'd want to look at the ability that this tree may be removed, as well as the proposed tree not being proposed based off of two factors, our utilities. So I'm going to continue on to our site and grading, our grading, drainage, and utility plan, which is C04. And I'll continue that discussion as well. So depending on our location of our utilities, our stormwater, and also the site triangle, we're making all attempt to plant that shade tree, but if it is deemed that it's not feasible based on discussions with the arborist and also with the utility companies, that is something that we would want to have on record, that we may be looking at either a waiver and or paying into the bank. So I'll defer to council on that. Regarding our site grading, drainage, and utilities, we have a water connection for both domestic water as well as fire service coming from going into the utility space of the building. We also have a sewer line and also a stormwater, also a gas line, which will be by others, but we're showing the location subject to relocation based off of conversations with the utility company. Regarding the site grading, everything as it does under existing conditions. We're maintaining the existing drainage patterns. As was noted in our stormwater management report, which was dated August 14, 2024, last revised 3/17, March 17th, 25, which also includes comments that we received at the technical review meeting. But we're essentially maintaining existing drainage patterns as it does today. The property drains to the southeast portion towards the road, and we're collecting all the water as it, all the runoff is collected at the low point of this catch basin and diverted into the underground stormwater management system. Also, we have the roof leaders as are coordinated with the architect plan to tie in to the system, all clean water. And this is going into the underground detention system, which is equipped with an outlet structure to reduce the flows and to control the quantity of the runoff going into the municipal system. In addition, prior to the roof runoff going into an underground system, there is a green roof that is designed with our office and also with the architect that would be on top of the roof. So that water would go into a green roof and then continue down the roof drains into the overflow would continue down the roof drains into the underground stormwater management system. And again, the stormwater management system is designed in accordance with the municipal standards, the new latest updated standards. And we're fully detaining the 100-year storm. So certainly making this a better situation than what it is under existing conditions with the buildings and the asphalt that exists under existing conditions. And we're also reducing the impervious. We have open space in the rear of the property. Continuing on to the our soil erosion sediment control. This is something that I won't go too much into because this will be reviewed by the Hudson Essex Passaic County Soil Conservation District, but we're complying with all soil erosion and sediment control measures. Continuing on to the landscape plan, as discussed, we have some open space which we'll be planting with some ornamental grasses in the back. And then we have 5 inkberry shrubs and also, 8 evergreen, giant shrubs in the rear, as well as, 2 shade trees. There are 2, little leaf, linden shade trees, or 1, shade tree proposed with an existing to remain. And this is here on our planting schedule. So that's with regards to landscaping. Continuing on to the lighting plan. Under the parking garage, it has surface mounted lights, that about 30 of them, which are fully, shielded from any spillage to the right and left, or the north and south of the property. It's just the one light in the rear, which is the wall mounted at 10-foot high, that has a little bit of spillage to illuminate the rest of the parking area. But that also is also within the municipal limits of maintaining a maximum of 0.5 foot candles along the rear property. And then we have 2 wall mounted lights in the front, which also illuminate, we're maintaining, as per municipal requirements, a minimum of 0.5 along the curb line. There are some comments that we did receive from engineering, which we will comply with those comments with regards to lighting. And that's essentially all with regards to testimony, with regards to the site. I think after that, I'll be passing it on to traffic, and we have the rest of the professionals that will go into that. But if there's any questions or anything particular on any of the review comments, I see Charles's hands up. I don't know if that's something I do or if he just unmutes.
If you're finished, the chairman will take control of the meeting and direct the questions.
I'm done with testimony, and if there's any additional questions, I'm available to field any questions.
Well, thank you. Counsel, anything further from this witness?
Nothing,
Very
Mr.
eager
Chairman.
witness. Very eager witness. If nothing, Mr. Trafficante, could you turn your camera on and unmute yourself? Mr. Trafficante, could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and title for the record.
My name is Charles Trafficante. I'm a principal engineer. I'm also a professional engineer. I am in the employment of the City of Newark Department of Engineering. My license is active and in good standing with the state board.
Mr. Trafficante.
All right, Mr. Kendall, in regard to the Department of Engineers report to the zoning board dated April 9th, there's at least 2 items that request testimony. One of which is on page 2 under survey, Roman numeral 11. Survey shows existing overhead utility lines and utility pole within subject lot 12, block 815, that encroaches into adjoining lot 10 from lot 12 to the north. Applicant shall provide testimony to the board as to what overhead and underground utility easements exist within subject lot 12 and for whose benefit. Should no easement exist, the applicant property owner shall provide additional testimony as to what is the future disposition of those existing overhead utility lines and pole. Can you address that, Mr. Cantle?
Yeah, this is something that we will coordinate with the utility company to confirm, but it's our understanding that it's feeding service through, that the existing building is feeding service through that utility pole and a utility pole over there, and it's feeding service through here. So if that's something that the utility company will remain, then we would certainly work with council to come up with easements, and we would abide by those easements and have them continue on the deeds of this property. If the utility company prefers a more preferred route of servicing either our property or the adjoining property, maybe they will get rid of any overhead wires that are coming onto our property. And if that's the case, then that easement would not be required. But that is something that we will certainly note in our exploration with the utility company to assure that if there is service that is passing through our site for the benefit of another site, that an easement is both recorded, and we'll work with both our surveyor and also with council to make sure that that's addressed.
So as far as you are aware, are there any existing easements, utility easements, either overhead or underground on this subject lot?
None shown on the survey. I will defer to council if there was anything else that came up in the title, but none shown on the survey.
I did not see the title, but obviously that there's some overhead wires there. We'll have to deal with them. We'll either work with the utility to, if they're serving properties other than ours, we'll have to work with them to make sure that those properties are still serviced properly. And if they're just ours, we'll probably try to remove the wires and the pole, to be quite honest.
All right, so it'll be dealt with the appropriate utility company.
Correct. We'll work with PSE&G as is typical.
All right. And then last question, I think you already addressed this. There's an existing fence and gate that encroaches into public right of way for Summer Avenue. Correct me if I'm wrong, is that to be removed?
That is correct.
All right. Otherwise, you can comply with all the other comments in the engineer's report to the board dated April 9th.
Yes.
Yes, certainly.
All right, no further questions. Thank you.
And council,
Thank you.
just to make the record clear, your applicant is agreeing to comply with all other matters raised in the engineering report as a condition of approval. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
That is correct.
Thank you. Thank you both. Are there any questions for the engineer from the board? Questions for the engineer from the board? Council, did you ask for a tree variance in this application?
So we're not sure. The issue is
Oh,
that
no. I don't know if, I'm not asking you if you'll need a tree variance.
we did notice it. We did.
Good.
But the challenge, we don't know if we don't think we'll need it. We're working with the arborist. We had in our TRC meeting. And the issue was, where are the utilities going to come in? So
understood.
Where the utilities come in, we may or may not need it, but we're willing, we'd like to put the trees in. We're willing to put a larger, more mature tree on the one side so that the site triangles are not impacted. But on the existing tree, there may be an issue with some of the utility lines coming in. So that's the challenge.
And council, as a condition of approval, you agree to work with our board planner and the city's arborist to do the best you can to plant all required trees prior to considering any other disposition. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And when we had our TRC meeting, the arborist also said that if we can't put the tree in, there's some shrubbery and other things because we do have a little bit of a setback. We have a 6-foot setback in front of our building that we can work with planters and some other things. So we are 100% in agreement with whatever design those folks come up with.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board for the engineer? Questions for the engineer? Are there questions from the public for the engineer? If so, please use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. If you're on the telephone, press *9 and that will alert us. I'd ask you to do so now. Questions for the engineer? I see no raised hands. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My next witness is my traffic engineer, Craig Paragoy.
Paragoy, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Sure. My name is Craig Paragoy, Peregoy. Business address is 245 Main Street, Chester, New Jersey.
Thank you. And counsel, you're providing this witness because you're asking for a parking variance. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman. And
Mr. Paragoy, have you appeared before this board in the past?
I have many times.
You look familiar. We haven't seen you in a little while though. And
Yeah.
Paragoy, is your license in the state of New Jersey in full force and effect?
It is.
We'll accept Ms. Paragoy as an expert in the field of traffic engineering. Counsel?
Mr. Paragoy, would you please, I know we provided a report to the traffic department. Would you please provide the salient highlights of your study and walk the board through that?
Sure. Obviously, the primary focus of our report was parking, but we did look at the traffic generation. I'll touch on that really quick. 29 units proposed in this setting based on the ITE, or the Institute of Transportation Engineers, trip generation numbers. Generate about 8 trips in a peak hour. Generally, what's considered a significant increase in traffic, that's considered that by New Jersey DOT and your engineering department, is 100 or more trips per hour. So we're well below that. And that's not even taking into account that the site was previously developed with some garages. There's a 2-family home, and any traffic associated with that would be gone. So I certainly have no concerns from a traffic impact standpoint. If anything, there's a slight improvement because we're utilizing essentially the spot where the existing driveway is. That driveway is a full movement, lefts in and lefts out. We're going to restrict this to right turn in and right turn out based on the feedback from the engineering department. So no impacts far afield from the site, and a little bit better at the site driveway itself. In terms of parking, you heard from Mr. Kendall's testimony. We required 29 spaces, which is 1 per unit. We have 19 on the site with the EV credit, so that puts us at 10 spaces short. I do a couple things for this. I look at the ITE, just like they have the traffic generation information, they have parking information, and it's called parking generation. They suggest for this setting and this size building a rate of 0.46 spaces per bedroom, and that's based on actual research counts at other types of buildings. That, if you do the math, is about 17 and a half spaces, so we're right on the money there. I also look at the census data, the US Census data, and this particular census tract, the reported vehicle ownership comes out to 0.54 vehicles per unit, which would be 16 parking spaces. Again, we have 19 with the EV credit, so we're right there in that ballpark. But nevertheless, I'm asking for the variance. Your engineering department has a pretty standard procedure that's helpful to take a look at. The on-street parking availability within any block that's within 300 feet of the site. So we've done that. The requirements are 2 weekdays. We did these back in November. Tuesday, November 12th and Wednesday, November 13th. Those are the weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. and 6 to 11 p.m. And then Saturday, November 9th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sunday, November 10th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Essentially looking for the amount of vacant spaces, parking spaces on the street in that area. And it's an interesting area. Some places you have a lot of activity. People double park to run into a store, but then half a block away, it's wide open. Obviously, people park out of convenience. For a residential building, you're not going to double park your car to go sleep at night. So we're looking at the curbside vacant spaces, and through all those hours of parking counts, the minimum availability we found at any one time was 18 parking spaces available on the street. Again, we're 10 spaces short from the ordinance requirement. I think realistically we're providing the right number, but we do have that availability that covers that 10 space shortfall from the ordinance requirement in the event somebody decides to rent here after all the spaces are taken and has a car. But generally these things self-police, but really check all the boxes from a parking perspective. I do have the review letter, the traffic engineering review letter from Mr. Trafficante dated April 9th. Some of the things he brings up in there are just informational, and some revisions that he would like to our traffic report, which we have no problem complying with and doing. My report had addressed the provision of 18 spaces on site. It was from a prior plan, and the plan changed at the last minute. My report didn't get updated, so I'll take care of that and get the report clean and updated for what we have proposed. And then I think anything that was traffic related from the site engineering review letter was covered by Mr. Kendall, so we won't rehash all that.
Council, any further questions for this witness?
I don't, Mr. Chairman. If there's anybody else have any questions, he's open to you guys.
Thank you. Any questions from the board for the traffic engineer? Questions from the board for the traffic engineer? Other questions from the members of the public for the traffic engineer? Questions from the public for the traffic engineer? Seeing none, council?
My next witness is my architect.
Oh, hold on. I see a hand raised. I think it's Zena's iPhone. Are you able to unmute yourself? Can you?
Yes. My name is Zena. My objection was about the parking. I didn't know if now.
Hold on.
Oh,
Can you
sure.
state your full name and address for the record, please?
Sure. Zena Ayala, 190 Elwood Ave,
Thank you,
in
Ms.
Newark.
Ayala. Your question, please?
Will there be another time to address the parking spaces, or is it only now?
This is a good time. But this is a time for questions. If you have a statement, you'll be able to make a statement a little later on. Do you
Okay,
have,
all right. I'll wait till later. Thank you.
counsel?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My next witness is Efren Gabriel, our architect.
Hi, good evening.
Mr. Gabriel, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name, give us your address and relationship to this application, please.
My name is Efrem Gobriel, last name Ghobrial. I'm a graduate of NJIT. And
Welcome home.
oh, thank you.
Have you ever been before this board before, Mr. Gabriel?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And is your architectural license in full force and effect in the state of New Jersey?
Yes, it is.
Well, we'll accept Mr. Gabriel as an expert in the field of architecture. Welcome home, Mr. Gabriel. Counsel.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel. Mr. Gabriel, I know you've prepared some plans. If you could share your screen and walk the board through the building you've designed, I'd be appreciative.
Absolutely. I've prepared a little slide. It's the same exact thing that's on the plans that were submitted, including also the updated facade. And I would like to respectfully request that this is marked as an exhibit. It's composed of 22 slides, but I promise they're quick.
Wow. Let's see if you keep your promise. We're gonna mark this A1 and council will get us a copy as soon as possible. You want to hit slideshow?
I will provide a copy to the board secretary tomorrow morning.
You want to hit slideshow, Mr. Gabriel?
I'm sorry?
Okay, let's proceed.
Let's proceed. Sure. Thank you. We're presenting tonight 828-832 Summer Avenue. I'd like to start with the site location. We're between Verona Ave and Coleman Street along Summer Avenue. This is the site right here with the existing garage and the existing two-story structure, which will be demolished. Moving on, this is just a hint of what the building is that we're proposing will look like, and I'm going to talk more about the facade. Again, this is an aerial view showing the site location. We are located fully within C1 zone. The building that we're proposing is a 5-story building, 58-foot high. It's composed of 29 dwelling units. We're proposing also 17 parking spaces and 32 bike parking. The floor plate area of this building is 7,950 square feet, and the total area of the building is 33,205 square feet. This is an architectural site plan. As my colleagues mentioned earlier, we are proposing a 6-foot setback in the front, and we're also proposing a 20 feet rear setback at the back here and 0 on the sides. Also, as you see here on the site plan, we're proposing a green roof and a roof deck, which I'll get to shortly. Our facade design, this is the primary facade that you could see walking down Summer Ave. We were very keen in designing this facade, leveraging contrast and rhythm, evoking a sense of movement and life in the street. We are utilizing 3 main material for this facade, which is the composite wood Nichiha panels here, and fiber cement white panels, as you see here, and the brick, the grayish brick at the covering the first floor. These are the materials for reference. We're using siding only for the rear and the sides. This is the, I'd like to also mention on the front before moving on to the other, to the rest of the facades. The front facade, we're proposing 40.7% of transparency, where 35 only is required. Moving on to the rear, we're proposing 22.4 transparency, where 20% is required. On the sides, as I mentioned earlier, we are within a zero setback with exception of this middle section. So we cannot, per code, we cannot really include any windows, any openings on these in these walls, and that's why our transparency, that we were seeking a transparency variance pretty much on both sides. I'd like to also mention that this building will be equipped with a fully automated sprinkler system. It also has 2 means of egress and an elevator per code. And we are utilizing for the heating and cooling systems for this building, we're utilizing high efficient, energy efficient heat pump system for both heating and cooling. Moving on to our floor plans here. We mentioned earlier that that we have 17 physical parking spaces, but we're also proposing 3 EV charging spaces, along with 32 bike racks within the garage space. You access the building lobby either through the front, of course, and it's also access control, provided with access control, and the building is also equipped with cameras. You could also access the lobby through the garage here from the back within the garage space. Moving on, there's also on the first floor, we're providing the utility rooms, sprinkler room and electric room. There's also a very spacious lobby that is, which, you know, we'll be designing our mailboxes and package area within the lobby. And again, it's access control, so it's pretty safe. Also, there is the trash room, which is provided with a trash chute, and I can show you briefly here on the floors above that this is the trash room that repeats on every floor with a trash chute. The trash will be brought down here, you know, within the chute, and it will be brought out on collection day through the garage door. Moving to the floor plans. On the second floor, we are proposing a gym and a lounge, notably here, as well as, of course, some residential units, 6 to be exact. The gym and the lounge, they're very spacious. They're about the gym is about almost 800 square feet. The lounge is about 633 square feet. We're envisioning this to be a very pleasant environment, very safe. We're proposing floor to ceiling glazing, so everyone walking by would be able to see what's happening inside. And it will be pleasant for the tenant to use at their discretion. We have a mix of units here. We're proposing tonight 2 studios total, 15 1-bedroom, 3 1-bedroom with a den, and 9 2-bedrooms. The average area for these units are way over, you know, minimums. It's for the studio, we're averaging 656 square feet, where the 1-bedroom is 775 square feet, where the 1-bedroom plus den is 800 square feet, where the 2-bedroom is 1,000 square feet. Moving on to the third floor. And this is the third and fourth, the plan repeats. We're proposing, it's all residentials, as you see. This is the studio, and this is the 1-bedroom plus den, plus the same units that we saw below, and I'm going to go through the units shortly. Fifth floor, we'll lose a unit here to this unit. This unit absorbs that unit becomes almost a 1,400 square foot 2-bedroom, which is pretty nice. We are also proposing some just small balconies for the tenants to use, as an outdoor space. Speaking of outdoor spaces, we are proposing a really nice roof deck there that's going to be 1,000 square feet. We're also proposing a green roof that's 1,367 square feet. We're also placing the mechanical space at the back. Just for orientation, this is the street side and this is the rear of the property. Going into the units, I just selected a small number of units to go through, which is a pretty typical units. This is our 1-bedroom. You enter from here. There is a coat closet as soon as you walk in, and a nice kitchen with a peninsula. All the units are equipped with a full-size washer and dryer, and the water heater also within the mechanical closet here. This specific 1-bedroom has 1 bathroom that's fully accessible. Also, the bedrooms and living room, as you see here, they're pretty spacious. The bedroom being almost 14 feet by 12.5 there, and the living room is 307 square feet. Moving on, this is our studio. Also, the studios are pretty spacious. As you see here, it has a really nice walk-in closet there. All the units are equipped the same with a full-size washer and dryer and water heater, and a fully equipped kitchen. Also, you have extra storage here for coats and whatnot. Moving on to the 1-bedroom with den. You walk in through here. You also have the coat closet. You have a den space that will be utilized as an office space. A lot of people nowadays work from home, so this comes in handy. Again, the washer and dryer closet, a fully accessible bathroom, very spacious living and bedroom. Moving on here, this is our 2-bedroom. This is our typical 2 bedrooms, which you enter from here. This specific one has 2 bathrooms. There's one within the master bedroom with a nice walk-in closet here. Very spacious kitchen. Again, living room, the bedroom, and the same washer and dryer closet. Pretty nice coat closet here, and a fully accessible bathroom. This is our largest unit. This is 2-bedroom. And it's about 1,400 square feet. And this is a rendering of the facade. This is a morning shot showing the front of the building. This is a close-up by the entrance and the garage. These are the plants that that will happen within our setback that we're proposing. And this is what we're envisioning for the roof deck. And with that, it concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Counsel, anything further from this witness, for this witness?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any questions from the board for the architect? Questions from the board for the architect? Are there questions from the members of the public for the architect? Seeing none, counsel?
My last witness this evening, I think, is John McDonough. He's double booked, but I just wanted to see if John's still available. All right, he's still there.
I always keep you guessing. And I'm on 2 devices, Mr. Chair. That's why you see the back and forth.
Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear affirm the testimony about to provide be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
You state your name, give us your address and relationship to this application. Thought you were leaving for a minute there.
No, I feel like Commissioner Comasanias tonight with 2 devices. My name is John McDonough. I am a licensed professional planner here in the state of New Jersey. That license is current and in good standing.
Mr. McDonough is well known to this board. He stated his license is current in the state of New Jersey. We'll recognize him as an expert in the field of Planning. Council?
John, I know you prepared a report. I guess we'll mark it as A2 and ask you to share your screen and walk the board through your analysis.
Sure thing. As always, Mr. Chair, we're going to start with letting the site do a little bit of the talking here, and how what the applicant is proposing is going to be a positive upgrade of property that could use help. It is certainly a key focal point, as this visual shows. And Elle, are we calling this A1 for the record? Four slides.
A2, John.
A2 for the record will be 4 slides. We're going to start with an aerial photograph here, an aerial satellite image outlining the subject property, which is a single tax lot. It's about a quarter acre, 10,169 square feet. It's fully developed, as you can see. It's fully paved, so any opportunity here to introduce some green space and hopefully some trees as well will be a good thing and certainly an improvement. The thing that strikes me about this application, it is at the terminus of Winthrop Street, sort of a focal point. It's not doing anything positive visually now, as you can see in the next slide. That's essentially what you see, a falling down garage that takes up the whole back of the site. There is a little detached dwelling in the front, and then a substantially paved over the site. We've got a chain link fence in the front as well. So this is your focal point at the end of Winthrop. The applicant is going to replace that, as you've seen, with a beautiful architectural building, highly amenitized here, and really something that needs minimal relief as the zoning has evolved upward, I'll say, in favor of this development, and the development itself has evolved downward to nicely marry up with the zoning here. This is just a view of the top down, again, underscoring the void in the landscape and how the applicant is going to fill that void with a building that complies in terms of the overall height, the overall number of stories. The building shell is substantially in compliance with the ordinance. It does require some relief for setbacks and coverage, but clearly the overall site coverage is an improvement over the existing condition. And that's what you see in this last slide here. Again, a site that is fully paved over with buildings that go right to the property line. The applicant is asking for rear yard setback relief of 20 feet where 30 feet would be required, but that's an improvement over the existing condition. It's going to effectuate some needed parking and also provide for greater separation against what are now garages, not dwelling units per se. So the impact is lessened. There is some relief on the side related to this white building that you see, where 0 feet is proposed, 5 feet would be required. But that building is askew to the property line, so the impact improves as we move back. And you can see that at the closest point, the pinch point, there are no windows there, so we'll be in compliance with building code. And then as we pull away, that's where the windows start to come into play. But you get a sense of the V or the setback from the adjacent property. So putting a building right on the line on this left side here is not going to have any substantially adverse impacts on that building. So talked about the side yard, the rear yard and the side yard. The front yard needs relief as well. When we get back to that top-down view, we're looking for 6 feet along the front where most of the buildings are 0 feet. The basis there is for safety, for pedestrian safety, with vehicles moving in and out. We think that extra 6 feet will facilitate safe wayfinding and safe pedestrian circulation. So setbacks are justifiable as a better zoning alternative. In terms of the D relief, we're looking for density relief for just 2 additional units above and beyond what the ordinance would require. 27 are allowed, 29 are what's proposed. The site can easily accommodate those 2 additional units in terms of water demand, sewer demand, overall parking demand, as you heard Mr. Paragoy's testimony. This site is within 600 feet of Mount Prospect Avenue, where we have multiple bus stops. So we do have a transit-rich area that will offset that lesser parking demand. And then finally, again, we're looking at significant improvement in building quality and visual quality over that which presently exists. In terms of the statutory criteria, the project promotes the general welfare because it will deliver a permitted multifamily use. It's going to create an attractive focal point to replace that eyesore at the end of Winthrop. That goes towards purpose A of the land use law. I think you could also move on purpose I, the promotion of a desirable visual environment. We have a nice diversified mix of unit types here, which will go towards purpose G to provide for a variety of uses in appropriate locations. And then finally, purpose M, taking a developed site and putting it back into good productive use. All of those positives substantially outweigh any negatives. I think the statutory test is met, and this project has evolved to a good place where it warrants approval. The C relief, I've given you the practical side for. I think the board can subsume them within the D5, or certainly under the flexible C balancing test as a better zoning alternative for the property. With all said, and based on all of the nice testimony that you have before you, this is a good application. This is a good fit for the site that lines up nicely with your zoning, and also nicely lines up with the statutory criteria for approval. Therefore, approval is warranted. And L, that's all I have on direct, unless you have any redirect.
Council, further questions for this witness?
No, Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
Are there questions from the board for the planner? Oh, I don't know what happened to me.
Mr. Hall.
Hi, Commissioner Hall.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to me. Anyway, Commissioner Hall,
All right, thank you, Chairman.
I guess this is my best look.
So I don't know if this is appropriate for you, Mr. Dunn, but you pointed something out, that the building comes right up to the property line on the side of the other building where there are windows. Can you talk a little more about that, or
Yeah, I'll give you
illustrate it a little more, and how much space is left, or we might need to call somebody else and point it out?
I can give it the first shot, Commissioner Hall.
Okay.
So you've got a property line, and then you've got a building line on the adjacent. It forms a V. There's a little pinch point at the front of the property where the building actually touches the property line on the neighboring property. Our building is going to run along the common property line. So I can show you this in the aerial, but at that pinch point at the base of the V is where I'll say we kiss up against the adjacent building. There are no windows right there. As the V starts to open up, that's where those windows are in the back.
Okay, and then we're not on the property line where it opens up. Is that
right? And I don't know if you could see my hand cursor tracing here.
I do.
Yeah, I need to figure out how to draw on these things, but here's the property line.
Yep.
And then the building line is here. The proposed building line is going to follow this little tree line that you see. So right at the angle point of the V here is where it will touch up against the building, but then it opens up because this building opens up further away from the property.
Mr. Hall.
So there's no building code issue here.
Commissioner Hall, can I show my architect? Can you show?
Chairman, is all right, because I do want to look at this.
Sure. Let's
I'll
call
yield
the
that
architect
screen.
back.
Yeah. You show
Can I
that.
share my screen?
Yes. That's
Yeah,
fine.
could you share your screen, show us, and give us the measurements on?
I'm not sure if I can measure here, but I can show you so we don't have any windows along this
That we understand.
this front.
I think we're trying to get a sense of the distance. Can you give us the distance?
Sure, I can try. If you allow me just 1 second, I'll open the my architectural drawing. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right. This is okay, so I'm going to measure here. This is already 4 feet. So this is happening. So as you see, it's a V that opens up. It measures almost 5 feet by once you go in about 17 foot in from the building and about 24 feet from the property line, the front property line. On the other side here, we are
Estimate where
roughly
the windows were.
8 feet to the neighbor building. I'm sorry?
Can you estimate where those windows were on that left side property? I think that's what Commissioner Hall is trying to understand.
That is. Thank you,
How
Council.
far are the windows in that left side building to our building? I think that's the question.
That is the question.
I don't know how far back it is, but I'm not sure how to do that math. I wasn't good in geometry. That's why I went to law school.
That's why we
So,
have engineers.
So I don't have an exact measurement. However, I do believe from this image here from Google Maps, and I could actually, I think I can measure in Google Maps, measuring from here to right there. This is about 20. Sorry, this is almost like 24 feet from the front of this building. So the first window is about 24 feet in. And going back here to my plans, if you measure from the front 24 feet in, this is already in the area where it opens up and it's
Yep.
and again, these are Google Map images.
Right. I can see where it's opening. I can see the opening.
So 4 feet 7 inches, 4 feet 8 inches. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say that's.
And these are.
Yes.
I'm not too sure of the location, because it's also on an angle, so it might be way beyond that. On the other side, we're around 8 feet.
Great. Answers my question. I'm comfortable. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Should have paid more attention to my geometry class. I could.
Any other questions for the architect from the board? Additional questions for the architect or the planner? Let me not forget about Mr. McDonough from the board. If none, are there questions from the public for the planner? Questions from members of the public for the planner? Council, I see none. Council, you have any other witnesses?
I don't, Mr. Chairman. I know
It is
Mr.
now the time when we will take statements from members of the public. If you care to make a statement, please identify yourself by using the raise hand feature. I'll ask you to submit to the oath, state your name, your address, submit to the oath, and you'll have 3 minutes to make your statement. Ms. Ayala, you wanted to make a statement. Could you raise your hand? Could you unmute yourself, Ms. Ayala?
Hi.
Hi, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the
Yes.
testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes. My name is Dina Ayala. My address is 190 Elwood Ave.
Thank you, Ms. Ayala. Your statement for the record, please.
I just wanted to make a statement about the parking. If they were saying that the parking was adequate for the amounts that they're putting in, and the area is already full of cars that cannot find parking, I don't think it's fair to everybody around the area that already has trouble finding parking to put 29 units in, some which are 2-bedroom, which can mean there's multiple cars per apartment, when there already isn't enough space for the current occupants around the area. And if it's 1 unit per apartment, I'm sorry, I don't know the law, but somebody did mention 1 unit per 1 parking spot. If you can only offer 17 spots, why can't you just have 17 apartments? I don't think it's fair that the surrounding families have to deal with this, and it's gonna disrupt not just Summer Ave, Coyman, Woodside, Irving Street. I think Verona is tight on parking too. I don't see any way that that's fair. Just besides that, it's gonna be prettier or for other people to make money. I don't know if they can have all-site parking somewhere to accommodate, because it doesn't sound like it's gonna be beneficial to the area. That's really my only concern about the parking spots.
Thank you, Ms. Ayala. Are there any other members of the public that care to make a comment at this time? If so, please use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. I see no raised hands. Council?
Mr. Chairman, I have no further witnesses and I've concluded my case in chief.
You're submitting, council?
Yes.
Council is submitting. We're now in discussion. May I have discussion from the board? Discussion from the board. Commissioner Hall.
Mr. Chair, I happen to, well, first of all, let me thank the public for comments that were made. And I too am always concerned about parking in areas of our. What I will say to that is there are a lot of studio apartments here. And that gives me a comfort level that everybody in the building is not going to have a car, and there is public transportation in that area. So, but when I look at the whole application, right now, I don't like what I see sitting there. I think this is a huge improvement. I think it's a nice building, and I would hope that it would bring other nice units like that in the area. It's just a really nice project. The amenities, the rooftop, the landscaping that's going to be done outside, and it's really a lot went into the looks of this building. So overall, I just think that this is. I'm hoping that there won't be an impact in part. Because when you look at everybody can't have a car, and today I'm starting to believe that everybody's not going to have a car. In other cities like ours across the state, I'm going to be in favor of this, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and I apologize. I see a screen named Sonia with a hand raised. Can you turn on your camera and unmute yourself? Screen name Sonia.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Can you turn on your camera?
Turn on my camera. Hold on.
And you want to make a statement, is that correct?
Yes. Is my camera on?
Excuse me?
You telling me to turn on my camera? Is my
Yeah.
camera on?
No, it is not. But if you're having trouble, can I ask you to raise your right hand, please?
All right. I'm raising it.
Do you swear or affirm the statements you're about to provide be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Would you state your name, your address, and
Yes.
please?
My name is Sonia Okendo. I live at 16 Coleman Street.
Thank you, Ms. Okendo. Could you give us your statement, please?
Yes, I'm just concerned about the parking because I've been living there for years and now the parking is just getting crazy. I come home from work and I have to park 3 blocks or 4 blocks away from my house every night. And if I double park, I get a ticket. I got like so many tickets because it's so late for me to walk. It's not like a really safe neighborhood. So I'm just like concerned about the parking because all of us on the block always have to park so far. Like it's crazy that we have to park like 3 blocks away. Like I don't know why they can't like make lesser apartments and like to move up to the parking spots. I know they're saying about the bus stop, but nobody really like catches the bus. They're all everybody has cars. Like per family, there's always like 2 cars per family. Mostly. So that's all my concern is.
Thank you, Ms. Okendo.
You welcome.
We now return to board comments. Commissioner Comesañas.
Yeah, I think it's well documented how I feel about parking. It's a luxury. It's nice to be able to
Luxury.
it's nice to be able to park in front of your home, but nothing guarantees you that you'll be able to do that. In this case, no matter what's built there is going to impact parking. There's also an issue throughout the city where people have parking available, but the landlords charge for the parking, and then it just sits there while everyone's on the street, right? So, I mean, we can't design communities based on parking, but this application is a substantial improvement, I feel, from the previous application that looked kind of greedy. Actually, I'm not sure, but I think we may have used that word in that meeting. But then now you have balcony space, you have a little bit more movement in the design. I'll agree with Mr. Hall. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Other comments from the board? So this is going to be by far the biggest building in the area. And parking is a real problem. And it contributes to intense traffic. Also, this is a D5 variance, a density variance. However, so with that being said, though, we're talking about a density variance that's 25 square feet. It's kind of de minimis, I would say. I don't want to say that I always agree with Commissioner Komisanis or Commissioner Hall regarding parking. People in New Jersey, everybody has a car in New Jersey or wants to get a car. I know this will heighten parking problems. I'm convinced that this will heighten traffic problems, which are already becoming a problem in the city. But look, the D5 is de minimis. The building type and height is permitted. This is the type of building that the new ordinance, I think, believed belong in this area. And whether I agree with it or not, it's a de minimis request all around. And I thank council for presenting this. And I thank the members of the public for coming out and joining me in my concern about how parking is getting rougher in the city. I guess we're looking more and more like Jersey City, which is a horror to park in, and traffic. And I guess we'll have to raise those concerns in other forums. Are there any other comments from the board? If none, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Hall.
make a motion to approve application ZBA -24-60, 828-832 Summer Avenue, with conditions.
We have a motion to approve with conditions. We have a second.
Second.
Second, Cobian. Call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphonse.
Yes. Council, I'm going to ask if you would agree to conditional preliminary and conditional final site plan approval. That condition, of course, would be met when you receive the approval, if and when you receive the approval from a board staff and the city's arborist and engineering department on all conditions you agreed to this evening. Of course, if there's any problem with coming to agreement, you can come back to this board. Are you agreeable to that, council?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I am.
I have
Thank
a
you.
motion for preliminary, conditional preliminary and conditional final site plan approval.
Move it.
Move it, Comesañas, may I have a second?
Second.
Second, Hall, call the roll, please.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphont.
Yes. Congratulations, your application and preliminary site plan approvals have been granted. Once again, thank you, members of the public, for coming out. And council, do you have resolutions to memorialize?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have 6. The first one is ZBA 24-45, 99-103 Davenport Avenue.
Are there any proposed revisions or dissents? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphont.
Yes, council.
ZBA 24-51, 10-14 Vine Street.
Are there any proposed revisions or dissents? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphont.
Yes, council.
ZBA 21-76, 390-394 North 5th Street.
Are there any proposed revisions or dissents? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphont.
Yes, council.
Next one is ZBA 85, 274-276 Elm Street.
Are there any proposed revisions or dissents? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphont.
Yes, council.
ZBA 22-9, 48-50 Jefferson Street.
Are there any proposed revisions or dissents? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphont.
Yes, council.
ZBA 24-68, 176-204, 212-240 McClellan Street.
Are there any proposed revisions or dissents? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphont.
Yes, council. You muted
That's all for tonight. I'm done.
Yeah, you were quick to mute yourself there. We have minutes to memorialize. The first minutes are the minutes of February 27, 2025. Are there any proposed corrections or revisions? Which would be the same, I guess. Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphont.
Yes, next are the minutes of March 13th, 2025. Are there any proposed revisions? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphont.
Yes, last minutes to be memorialized are the minutes of March 27th, 2025. Are there any proposed revisions? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Member Hall,
Yes.
Member Hardesty,
Yes.
Member Comesañas,
Yes.
Member Rivero,
Yes.
Member Cobian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mumford,
Yes.
Chair Alphont.
Yes. Council, any matters for which we need to convene into executive session?
No, sir.
And Ms. Mejia, when is our next meeting?
next week, April 24th.
Excuse me?
April 24th.
April 20, that's next week, isn't it?
Yes.
How many matters on the agenda at the moment?
4.
No more.
Mhm.
Okay, well, a motion to adjourn is always in order. It's non-debatable. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Favor say aye.
All right. Good night, all.
Have a good
Happy
night.
Easter.
Easter, everybody.
Happy
Happy
Easter.